country. It's one of those things. It's got to be one of those three.
All right, let's get to
Pretty hard to believe, actually.
this time last year. You were president, and there was no inflation at all.
What a great time we did. What a job we did.
So we're in the middle. So this time last year, we're in the middle of the pandemic. No inflation at all.
Yeah.
Now the fastest inflation ever. Why? What happened?
So I think it really started with energy. Texas knows something about energy. Remember when I used to say they're lying because they said, no, we're going to keep prices the same. They didn't have any intention. You know, I filled up the strategic reserves for almost nothing, relatively speaking, for nothing. And all of that, now they're using strategic reserves. That's supposed to be for wars and for real, not to get the price down. Now they're using the oil. This hadn't been done in many, many decades. No president wants to do that. They don't want to spend money. They don't get credit for it. I filled it up when we hit a beautiful low price. I filled up 75 million barrels of oil. We filled it up. Now he's taking that oil and trying to get the gas price down. That's very artificial, not going to work. But I think the biggest problem is energy. Energy's gone. We were at $1.87 for gasoline, $1.87 a gallon. Now in some places in California, you're over $7, $7.77 actually I saw. But the rest is following. And in a lot of places here, but in a lot of places, you're at $4 and $5. It's going way up. And I used to say that on the campaign. I never knew it was going to be as bad, and I never knew it was going to be as fast as it is. But when energy goes up, everything goes up. Everything goes up. And energy is only going to get higher. You know what they're doing now? They're back to negotiating with OPEC, a term I didn't even use because we didn't need OPEC. They're back to negotiating with Russia, Saudi Arabia, and all of these other oil-producing states. It is so sad. By the way, we were, for the first time, I think ever, they say in 73 years, I think ever, we were energy independent, okay? 1 year ago. And today we're begging Russia and other countries. And by the way, Russia is becoming rich. I stopped their pipeline, and then they say Trump was soft on Russia. The biggest thing they ever did was the pipeline, ever. They've never had anything. I stopped it cold. And one of his early acts also was approving that pipeline. And by the way, ending the Keystone XL pipeline, right? He ended that. But, you know, it's interesting. You do that, you put massive sanctions, and by the way, it's good to get along with Russia, and it's good to get along with these countries, but you can't look. When you have the kind of weaponry that we all have, weapons like nobody's ever seen before, I've seen them. It's good to get along, it's good to be friendly, but you don't want to have people take advantage. And China's been taking advantage, and Russia's been taking advantage. And when you look at Iran, what they've done, they were ready. Had the election not been rigged, we would have had a deal with Iran in the first week.
I just want to stay on the... President Biden says that he attacked the fossil fuel industry, which he obviously did, in the name of global warming, in the name of climate change. First of all, do you believe that climate change is a severe problem?
Look, we want clean air and we want clean water. And by the way, the last year of our presidency, let's see what happens in the future, right? Let's see. But air quality was the best it's been in like 40 years. And you know, once you get too far back, you didn't have so many people here, so we don't want to compete with 200 years ago. But it was the best it's been in 40 or 50 years. We had the best numbers. With all of the things, we never produced that many people working, 160 million. Everything was going great until COVID came in, and then we rebuilt it again the second time. And he took over a pallet, a plate that was so beautiful, and he blew it. And now, by the way, just to interject, remember, we will solve COVID, we will solve COVID. More incidents of COVID over the last few days than we've ever had. It's worse than it's ever been. And they have vaccines, and they have Regeneron and all sorts of therapeutics that are so great. I don't know what the hell they're doing.
I'm going to get to that in a minute, but I just want to be clear. You do believe that global warming is a problem?
I think the biggest problem we have is potential nuclear warming, to be honest with you. Nobody ever
So it's far down the list on your priority.
Well, when I hear the ocean is going to rise 1/100th of an inch over the next 200 years, okay? And we'll be producing more beachfront property. You know, I've heard of worse things. Look, we're going to go hotter, we're going to go cooler. Remember, they used to use global warming. Then all of a sudden, vast parts of the planet were very cool. So they got away from that. They have about six different, now they call it climate change because that you can't go wrong. It's changing, the climate is changing. Look, I believe in clean air, I believe in clean water, and I believe in having unbelievably successful industry. You know, I ended the Paris Environmental Accords, which was one of the great rip-offs of this country of all time. China doesn't even kick in for another 10 years. Russia kicks on using one of the dirtiest dates. It was a date where the air was very dirty. That's their comparison. And we kicked in immediately. It was going to cost us over $1 trillion. We were going to have to close businesses. We would have been sued by every group. You know, in Russia, they don't get sued. In China, they don't get sued. They don't have people suing Putin and all of the people in China, and President Xi, as an example, he doesn't get a lot of suits. Like, environmentally, we're not happy what you're doing. You know, they're opening a coal plant a week in China. That's a very strong form of energy. But some would say, even with its clean coal, you know, I really fought for clean coal because it's another form of energy. I fought it very hard. I fought for Texas. Texas was doing so well, and now all of a sudden, we're not producing enough energy. They closed down ANWR in Alaska. You know, every president for 60 years has been Ronald Reagan. Every president's wanted to get ANWR. I got it. And Biden comes in and they terminated it. Made possible by Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, who approved somebody that her first day in office, that person ended ANWR, which could be actually a bigger site than Saudi Arabia. Okay, that's pretty big, right? But we were energy independent, and today we're begging OPEC to send us more oil. Can you believe it?
Tell us about Putin now. So he has